Toronto Raptors have won 2 games in a row. A lot of people are fired up. A lot of people are excited. Things are definitely going in the right direction for the team, but the reality check is the team is still 3-4. There's still some tough games coming up this week and next week. Then the schedule gets a lot easier, but things are going in the right direction. But does this mini win streak of 2 games, win streak, quote unquote, mean that the Raptors are back? This is the Raptors we're going to be seeing the rest of the season? Let's dig into things a little bit more. I don't want to rain down on anyone's parade because there's been a lot of really good signs from the Raptors in the last couple of days. It was a really nice win against the Memphis Grizzlies on Sunday, 117-104 win. Really good second half. First half was okay. We did okay. We did enough to be in the lead. But the second half really felt impressive from a Raptors perspective. They played well in this game. They shot the ball overall pretty well in this game. They were 50.6% from the field. 3-point percentage, still would like to see that up. It was a 29.7. Kind of becoming more and more like Immanuel Quickley is not helping us a lot in that department. At least he shot it well in that game. He was 2 of 4 from 3, but just not a lot of touches overall for Immanuel Quickley, who has struggled this season. But there was a lot of good, especially from the Raptors starters. Immanuel Quickley was okay. He wasn't that good, but the rest of the starters were great in this game. Again, a lot to be impressed about. And there's been chatter about this offense starting to gel together. We're starting to see the chemistry. We're starting to see them really working together in the half court. All that stuff. The whole talk of the offseason, especially from myself, was this is just going to be clunky. There's a lot of talent here, and that should push them far enough that they should be able to make the playoffs, but it's going to feel clunky. And it has felt clunky at times this season, but again, this was just kind of a showcase of what they can do together. Scottie Barnes was great. He was dictating a lot of the tempo of the game, was initiating a lot of the sets, making some great passes. He had 8 assists. Brandon Ingram had some great passes, 4 assists. RJ Barrett was making some really nice plays, 6 assists, and he led the way with 27 points, was getting to the rim really well. Brandon Ingram in mid-range, finding his spots, creating his own shots, doing what he does. Like I said, Scottie Barnes kind of all over the place, doing it all type of game for him. Scottie Barnes at his best, I think, in that game against the Grizzlies. And even Colin Murray-Boyle starting for the team. 15 points, 7 of 14, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. He was making some great plays. Really fits well with that unit. Hopefully we see more of him. Even when Jakob Poeltl is back and starting, we hopefully see minutes of Colin Murray-Boyle with these guys and getting a bunch of playtime because he was terrific in this game. Lots to really like about this. And it's got the Raptors offense up to a pretty good position as far as offensive ratings go on the season. Raptors have shot themselves up to 12th in the offensive rating category, 115.8 offensive rating. There's a little bit of ways to go to catch some of these other better teams, but that's good. I read on Twitter that their half-court offensive rating is 11th in the league, which is also good. Showcase the half-court offense is doing some things. Still, a little bit to be desired on defense. 117.1 defensive rating. That is 24th in the NBA. We're in the mix with some pretty poor teams there with our defense, but offense seems to be going in the right direction. Hopefully a team that branded itself as freaking defense first can figure out its defense. So there were good signs here, but we also have to remember where we've been, who these games have been against here. Last season, the Raptors' defensive rating looked really good near the end of the season because it was improving for sure, but also they were playing some really easy teams. They had the easiest schedule in the NBA, and they're playing a ton of teams that were purposely trying to lose and were out-tanking us. So you have to keep that into consideration. Past 2 games, he's played a Cavaliers team. I think they were missing Mitchell, Mobley, and Garland. Mitchell, Allen, and Garland for that game. And then Memphis were missing John Morant and a whole host of other key players. So it was impressive, and I'm very happy, and we're moving in the right direction, like I said. But let's also try to keep some of that enthusiasm in check. Let's not go too far here. We're still 3-4, and digging into the stats a little bit more, there are some sort of questions I have about the fit of the offense still. Like I said, I always had those questions, and there's still great signs from a fit perspective with these guys, but it's still not quite seamless, and it's still not quite beating the clunky allegations, if you will. I kind of dug into some of the lineup data for the Raptors. I kind of wanted to see where the net ratings were at when you have Brandon Ingram, Scottie Barnes, RJ Barrett, and Immanuel Quickley on the floor together. That's who has really been considered the core part of the offense for this season. And those 4 players have been on the floor at the same time for 109 minutes so far this season. And unfortunately, alarmingly, their net rating is very bad. Their net rating with these lineups is negative 13.75. That's very bad. Their offensive rating is 12.23, which is also very bad. And their defensive rating is 125.97, which is also very bad. I wasn't really expecting these numbers to be great, but I also was not expecting them to be this bad because those are very bad. We take the offensive rating of 112.23. Let's compare that to the rest of the NBA. 112.2 would have the Raptors, let's see, 25th in the NBA. Get out of here. 25th in the NBA. Not very good. The defensive rating of, what was it? 125.97, so 126 essentially. 125.97. That would have the defensive rating as the second worst in the entire NBA. So there's definitely been some signs of improvement there, but still, the core group of players together are not quite gelling well as of yet. And it's still early, and that can change. And obviously, Brandon Ingram's been inserted into his team. Everyone's got to get used to playing with him, and even last year's message, we have a lot to work on. And that's fine. And it's still early. It's just these are really alarming figures really early on in the season. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. You might be thinking, well, Immanuel Quickley is in that for it. Immanuel Quickley's been really bad this season. So what if you just take Immanuel Quickley out of that? Well, if you take Immanuel Quickley out of that, and it's a tiny sample size. It is an absolutely tiny sample size. But if you take Immanuel Quickley out of that group, and we just have Ingram, Barnes, RJ Barrett on the floor together, it was only 11 minutes. So it's an insignificant sample size. Even 109 minutes isn't that big of a sample size. But 11 minutes is very insignificant sample size. The net rating for those 11 minutes with Brandon Ingram, Scottie Barnes, and RJ Barrett on the floor, and not Immanuel Quickley, is minus 43.56. So not very good. Offensive rating of 79.17 and defensive rating 122.73. Really bad on both ends of the floor in those 11 minutes. But again, that's just 11 minutes. That doesn't really mean anything. So I also kind of wanted to see how much of an impact Immanuel Quickley has had overall. And I'm actually going to look at these numbers in real time. How bad has it been with Immanuel Quickley on and off the floor? And it's not great, to be fair. His net rating is minus 4.71. Offensive rating with him on is 113.85. Not very good. Defensive rating 118.56. Not very good. With him off, it's a bit of a jump. And this is kind of what's scary right now for Immanuel Quickley. 118 minutes off. Net rating is 4.28 when he's off. 123.26 offensive rating. So if we go back once again to where that ranks amongst the entire NBA of 123.26, that would put the Raptors second in the NBA for offensive rating. Ooh, Immanuel. And defensive rating of 118.97. That would put the Raptors... that's still very bad. Offensively, it looks better, but defensively, that puts him 27th in the NBA. So still very bad when Immanuel Quickley is not on the floor. But the offense looks a lot better. So essentially, what is it? What is the point that I'm trying to prove here? What point am I trying to make with all of this? Well, there are positive signs for sure. Let's not overreact to that. But they are starting to find their feet a little bit more, and that's great. RJ Barrett looks great this season. Ingram has looked great. Scottie Barnes has looked great as well. They're all playing super efficient basketball on offense, which, could tame down a little bit, but they're all playing super efficient ball on offense out the gate. And the offense looks really good. For the most part, was those three players on the floor. Immanuel Quickley has definitely been a little bit of a sticking point and an issue for the Raptors so far this season. Still very small sample size, still very early. But my hope is that Immanuel Quickley figures his shit out because there's no excuse of health this year. There's no excuse for like him missing preseason and whatnot. Like, he's been here, and he needs to be better because the offense is working when he is not on the floor right now, and he is making the offense worse at the moment because he's not really impacting the game. So what needs to really change for Immanuel Quickley? We have a tweet here that says noticeably less usage for IQ on ball tonight. That was for the Memphis game. Just shot 4 shots, which is a season low. 3 of them were threes and 0 assists. That was in the first half, by the way. Raptors running offense through their forwards a lot more tonight. And there were improvements in the second half there when Immanuel Quickley was more involved, because he was like really not involved in offense first half. He was more involved in the second half, where he did end up getting 3 assists in the second half. Only took 5 shots, 2 of 4 from 3. So his usage was noticeably down. Definitely can't deny that. His usage was noticeably down compared to the other players. But if you can get Immanuel Quickley maybe playing a little bit more off ball, maybe taking a little bit better shots from 3, getting better opportunities, that could be a help for this Raptors team while he's still trying to figure things out. But I do believe the team will be better when Immanuel Quickley can figure out, or if he can figure out, it will be better. But there is definitely, based on all the evidence that we're kind of seeing so far, there's definitely optimism from my perspective about Ingram, Barrett, and Barnes working together. They just need the right pieces to kind of make it work for them as well. Defensively, there's issues, and there's going to be issues there for personnel-wise. But think about like if Pirtle comes back, that's really going to help your defense. Offensively, if Quickley can start knocking down more shots and being like a positive on the floor, like that's going to make a difference. So we're not going to get too carried away with 2 wins in a row against teams that are missing a lot of players. But I think there's definitely reason to be optimistic about the direction that the Raptors are heading in right now. And there is optimism about the upcoming schedule, I'd say. Like right now, we've kind of had a bit of a free hit with those 2 games for me. Like you take like the next 4 games here. And let's just take the next 3 games, to be honest. We're 3 and 4. Let's take the next 3 games. That'll be the first 10 games of the season. I think if you win 1 of the next 3, which is absolutely doable, you sit yourself at 4 and 6. And that's when your schedule really becomes a lot easier. And I'm okay to attack that portion of the schedule, kind of weathering the early difficulties in the schedule, weathering the storm early on. Go win another game, go 4 and 6, even better. Win 2 more of these next 3, go 5 and 5, and then really start to attack that second part of the schedule. Starting with that game against Brooklyn, who are awful and winless, where you really need to be winning that game. There is optimism from me that things are clicking, but we're not going to get too carried away as of yet.